This is the story of Kim Sang-kyul, a man thrown into another world who's already pushed the warrior class to its absolute limits. After cutting down countless monsters, he drags his massive hammer behind him, heading straight for the ruler of fear. What's interesting is that the ruler himself is trembling for the first time in his life, and it's all because of Sang-kyul. Suddenly, a giant fiend lunges from behind. Sang-kyul doesn't even bother turning his head. One effortless swing of his hammer, and the beast collapses, lifeless on the ground. Watching this, the embodiment of fear shaking like a leaf asked for mercy. Sang-kyul hurls his hammer, smashing the ruler's jaw, then leaps forward, snatching it midair. With a skillful strike, he enlarges the weapon and brings it crashing down, crushing the ruler's skull and ending his reign. Here in the other world, it's cursed by 5 recurring cycles of catastrophe, ancient tragedies that have devastated the world for ages. Today, Sang-kyul has chosen to put an end to the first one. He steps through a massive door, entering the lair of the demon lord Hathanius Max. At this point, Sang-kyul has made enemies of everyone, but it doesn't matter. He's here for one reason only: to kill the demon lord. As he approaches, something feels wrong. He can't sense any energy from the demon lord's body. It's there motionless but lifeless. That's when Hathanius reveals himself as a spirit. He's done this deliberately, knowing physical attacks can't harm him. And remember, Sang-kyul may be the strongest warrior alive, but he knows nothing about magic. Hathanius mocks him, saying that even though his army is gone, the prophecy of destruction will continue as long as he, one of the 5 great catastrophes, remains alive. In that moment, Sang-kyul realizes he's been completely outplayed. As much as he despises sorcery, there's no other path forward. He'll have to go back to square one and master the sorcerer's path. Only then can the real fight and his true story begin. Soon after, Sang-kyul made his way back to the very place where it all started. Pillar lights shooting up everywhere from the summoned palace. You know what that means? More humans are about to get dragged from Earth straight into this other world. And for those of you feeling lost right now, don't worry. Just stick with me and it'll all make sense as we move forward. Sang-kyul, this dude was first summoned all the way back in 1996, back when he was just doing manual labor after leaving the military. That means he's been stuck in this world for 25 whole years. And with all that time grinding, becoming a max-level warrior, he knows exactly what's coming if he shows his true self. The wizards would swarm him like rabid dogs. So, using that sharp brain of his, he activates the veil of the deceiver's skill. This is clever because it completely hides his real class and stats, and even changes how he looks, letting him move around unnoticed. The summoned palace itself is massive, with different squares, but Sang-kyul has a plan. He heads straight to the underground waterway in the White Square, where a wolf beast guard is stationed. Moving quickly, Sang-kyul knocks the beast out cold, then hangs its body from a tree with a note that says, "Goodbye, cruel world," and he grabs the wolf's spear, turning it into a makeshift harpoon. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why go through all that trouble? Well, it's genius actually. By making it look like the wolf took its own life, nobody's going to suspect that an intruder snuck in among the summons. The underground waterway is not the kind of place you want to take a stroll through. The stench of blood is everywhere. It's suffocating. For Sang-kyul, this hits hard because it's the same spot where he almost died when he was first summoned. The memories of all those humans who didn't make it out alive flood BAC. But this is the only way for him to switch to a wizard class without drawing attention. And to make it interesting, if he manages to sneak in with the newly summoned humans and grab a quest, he can choose wizard as a subclass, meaning he won't lose his hard-earned warrior class. He'll get to keep both and use them together. As the moment arrives, he sees a swarm of homunculi gathered, waiting for the new humans to show up. Sang-kyul isn't wasting time. Using the harpoon spear he stole earlier, he snags one of the homunculi, drags it over, and demands the quest log. The creature refuses, acting all tough, so Sang-kyul slices off one of its limbs, threatening to take more. That gets the message across real quick, and the homunculus finally hands it over. With the quest log now in his hands, Sang-kyul accepts the Summon Square quest, meaning he can now blend in with the incoming humans without anyone suspecting a thing. But that's not all. He also got 3 newbie quests. Among them, the Observationist quest stands out because completing it grants him intuition, which is crucial for a wizard build. And remember, he's been cursed, so boosting intuition is something he desperately needs. After dealing with that, Sang-kyul finishes off the homunculus to clean up the mess. Not long after, the new wave of humans finally arrives. These people are completely lost. Some are asking where they are, others think it's all just some weird dream. The homunculi waste no time ordering everyone to accept the quests. One guy, though, tries to resist, thinking he can talk his way out of it. 3 homunculi jump him immediately. 2 pin him down while the 3rd leaps at his face, slices his head clean off right in front of everyone. A brutal demonstration to show exactly what happens if you think you can defy them. Then, as if things weren't already tense enough, the massive iron doors nearby creak open, and a horrifying sound echoes from the other side. Everyone suddenly gets a warning notification popping up, telling them they might die. But Sang-kyul started laughing. After surviving 25 years of pure hell and non-stop grinding, someone's warning him that he might die? That's just comedy to him. Among all the confused humans who just got summoned, there's this one guy who's actually heard about the other world before. Apparently, a Ritterni told him about it, a world where only those who survive a death trial can even become members, which means every single person summoned here has faced a near-death experience back in the real world. That's the entry ticket. Cheating death once makes you eligible to be thrown into this nightmare. Everyone's handed a basic sword, and the homunculus leading them doesn't sugarcoat anything. Fight or flee, or you'll be eaten alive. The giant iron doors creak open, and out comes this massive red mantis. At first, someone laughs it off thinking, it's just one one bug, we got this. But before they can even blink, a swarm of mantises bursts through, slicing people apart like paper. The guy who thought it was easy, beheaded instantly, blood spraying everywhere. Right next to Sankyol, a terrified girl clings to him, begging for help. As the mantises charge, Sankyol swings his weapon once, effortlessly dropping them. But immediately he realizes, if he goes all out, he's gonna draw away too much attention. Keeping a low profile is key here. Meanwhile, there's this red-haired dude going full berserk mode, slicing mantises left and right. You can tell he's got real talent. The rest try sticking together to defend themselves, but experience matters here. The moment the leader tells them to run to the wall, he turns around, and everyone who was following him is already dead. That's the thing about this place. Having no experience just speeds up your death. Sankyol notices something strange too. Some people aren't even being attacked by the mantises. These are what he calls the chosen ones. He's seen this exact scenario before, nothing's changed. Watching from a distance, he also spots two figures, a man in heavy armor and a mage woman, just standing back, observing as people get slaughtered. Seems like they're the ones overseeing this summoning trial. Suddenly, one of the homunculi waves a red flag, yelling for everyone to run if they want to survive. But little did they know it was a trap. As soon as desperate people sprint that way, another kind of monster appears, devouring anyone who comes close. Chaos erupts everywhere, monsters swarming, people trampling each other, everyone fighting just to stay alive. Amid the madness, a doctor tries pulling a dirty move, planning to use another guy as bait to lure monsters to the gate and save himself. This is when Sankyol decides to have some fun. Out of nowhere, he starts trolling, saying, "Simon says, time for introductions," introducing himself as Sankyol Kim. The doctor looks completely lost, like, what is this guy even talking about? Then Sankyol picks up a mantis head and hurls it at him, calling it a gift. Classic trolling, but there's strategy behind it. It completes his sociable person quest, earning him Black Hawk claws. Not long after, Karma catches up to the doctor, and he's ripped apart by the mantises. Sankyol moves on, walking to the scripture carved into the entrance of the square. He wipes away the blood covering it and reads aloud, "Death will set you free." This immediately grants him 1 point of intuition. When he opens up his stats menu, you can instantly tell those 25 years grinding in the other world weren't wasted. His strength, agility, stamina, spell resistance, spirit, all insanely high. Magic power here means raw destructive force and tons of mana. But intuition, that's the secret to understanding advanced magic. Right now though, his intuition is at -9, meaning there's no way he's even sniffing the wizard class. To unlock it, he needs at least 10 points. He looks up at the night sky, seeing 2 moons glowing above. Doing that completes the Romanicist quest, earning him 1 palace token. And you want to remember that name, palace tokens hold way more value than they seem. From this massive summoning, around 2,500 humans were dragged into the blue, scarlet, white, and crimson squares. And now, barely 100 are left alive. Finally, the Summon Square quest wraps up. Sankyol already knows the limit. You can only boost intuition by 10 through regular quests. To go further, he needs a hidden quest. Just then, he notices a small group laughing together, bonding despite the carnage around them. Above their heads, there's a mark, the Eye of the Observer. Seeing that, Sankyol gets hyped because he knows exactly what this means. He's just found the hidden quest he's been searching for. So after the brutal trial, the survivors are barely hanging on. Injuries everywhere, fear in their eyes. The only ones who don't have to worry as much are the chosen ones, but for everyone else, it's pure survival mode. Until the next trial, they're on their own. Then the homunculus leader shows up, acting like he's doing them a favor. He says he's merciful, giving them 1 week of rest so they can adapt to this new world. But the truth, there's nothing merciful about it. There's no food, no water within these walls. If you want to live, you've got to step outside into danger, or worse, turn on each other. Meanwhile, the chosen ones get special treatment, and Sankyol manages to sneak in among them, blending in perfectly. Now, let's break down this whole Eye of the Observer thing. Basically, it's a tool the higher-ups use to pick out people who show potential or have special connections. It can also communicate with their guides. To make it simple, think of your guide as your teacher, and through the Eye of Observer you can connect and talk with them. The chosen ones gather in a dense forest crawling with wolves that are 3 times bigger than the ones we know on Earth. There are 25 chosen ones here in total. Johan Lee steps up and asks if everyone can hear the guide's voice. He's talking about that observer's eye. Lee says he wants to work together with everyone, but then his attention lands on Sankyol. He notices something's off, gives a sly smirk, and says he's looking forward to seeing them again once the trial's over. Not long after, the leader of the homunculi finally appears. This guy introduces himself as the Discipline Director, a homunculus of wisdom. And here's the chain of command. At the very top, you've got the higher-ups, then the low-grade wizards. Below them is this Discipline Director, and finally, the chosen ones. The director orders everyone to follow him, leading them to an abandoned cathedral dedicated to the god of order. Inside, there's this massive cube surrounded by a single giant eye, the cube being the ultimate symbol of the god of order. The Summon Palace is supposed to stay absolutely neutral under the name of this god. But what's happening here? Straight up corruption, right inside the cathedral that's supposed to represent righteousness and goodness. The Discipline Director commands them to line up in front of the altar. As soon as they do, multiple eyes emerge from the cube, scanning each person carefully. For Sankyol, this is a nightmare. If that scan reveals he's not truly chosen, it's game over. Thinking fast, he activates the Veil of the Deceiver's skill, throwing the scanning eyes into confusion. Luckily, it works. He dodges detection, but not without consequences. One of the chosen nearby catches on that something's not right. After the scan, every chosen one receives a massive stat boost, plus 10 points in strength, agility, and vitality, but only while they're inside the Summon Palace. They also get upgraded swords that make their old ones look like toy blades. These new weapons are 10 times better. Just when things seem to settle down, another homunculus rushes in with urgent news. Apparently, there's another Chosen One. The discipline director is baffled because all 25 Chosen Ones are already present. This is where the real trouble begins. Turns out, the missing Chosen One is Aram Park, personally handpicked by the leader of the Iron Blood Knights, the guy we saw earlier decked out in heavy armor. And remember that Chosen who noticed something strange about the scan? He steps forward, pointing right at Sankyol, calling him out as the mole. Before things could blow up even more, Lee stepped in with what sounded like a pretty solid idea. He suggested that everyone should just reveal the name of their guide. That way, they'd easily figure out who the mole is. One by one, people started saying their guides' names. Then, this one dude gets a little too cocky, grabs Sankyol by the shoulder, and whispers that maybe he should just make a run for it while he still has the chance. What a genius move, except not. Instead of saying his own guide's name first, this idiot basically handed the floor to Sankyol. And that's when our guy pulled off some next-level thinking. Using the Black Hawk Claw's effect, Sankyol managed to snatch the guy's eye of the observer right out from under him and made it his own. The moment he grabbed it, he could hear the guide's voice loud and clear. He asked the guide for its name. It responded, Krill Regal. Once that done, he tossed the eye away and confidently said out loud, "My guide is Krill Regal." Everyone bought it, and the guy who tried exposing him, completely stunned. Just like that, it was game over for him. Sankyol played him like a fool. The next day, everyone's out training, trying to get stronger and prepare for the upcoming trial. Sankyol, wanting to keep a low profile, checks to make sure nobody's watching him. Then, in a blur of speed, he taps a training dummy several times in rapid succession. He figures that's subtle enough, but nope. The dummy literally turns to ashes from just his light taps. Realizing what just happened, Sankyol bolts out of there before anyone notices. Meanwhile, Jongsik Cheon, that red-haired guy who went crazy during the Mantis fight, starts forming his own clan. His recruitment method is to make people fight each other, and whoever survives gets an invitation to join. While watching all this unfold, Sankyol spots Aram Park and decides to quietly follow him. Aram wanders over to a spot where people are fighting over scraps of food. In the chaos, a girl gets shoved down and can't grab anything. Aram swoops in, picks up her glasses, even cleans them for her, and offers her safety and plenty of food if she sticks with him. Little did she know, this guy is straight up creepy. Also forgot to mention, Aram Park is actually the son of the commander of the Iron Blood Knights, Songteek Jo. Later, Sankyol tracks where Aram took the girl, only to stumble upon a horrifying sight. Her lifeless body on the ground, stomach ripped open, organs spilling out. Seeing this, Sankyol's calm demeanor vanishes. He's furious. This sick monster needs to be stopped. Just as he's about to move in, he notices slimes creeping through the area, a sign that things are about to get even messier. These slimes are no joke. If one of them latches onto you, your skin doesn't just burn, it literally melts right off. While one of these slimes lunged at Sankyol from behind, all it took was a single punch, and the thing was splattered. But they just kept coming, wave after wave, and every time Sankyol's fists connected, another slime was gone. Soon, others in the area noticed the slimes swarming toward them. Panic broke out. Some people were screaming as their skin started melting away, while others didn't even get a chance to fight back before being completely consumed. That's when Lee rushed in, yelling for everyone to run for their lives. Sankyol even had time to warn Yoingjong Ha, telling him to get up if he didn't want to die right there. Once the crowd scattered and the area was clear, Sankyol focused on what he came for, Aram. Moving in silently, Sankyol closed the gap, slammed his foot into Aram's back, kicking him straight into the middle of the slime-infested ground. The smoke and destruction made it impossible for Aram to see who attacked him, but Sankyol wasn't done yet. He dashed forward, throwing a devastating punch that sent Aram flying high into the air before crashing down hard into the ground, right where more slimes were waiting to swarm him. Just as it looked like Aram was about to be torn apart, Dolorance Winterer appeared. With a powerful freezing spell, she instantly froze the surrounding slimes, saving Aram from certain death. Turns out, Dolorance is Aram's guide, a middle-grade wizard from the White Square, personally tasked by Aram's father to keep an eye on him. Using her spell, Abyss's Freezing, she gathered all the remaining slimes into one giant frozen mass and shattered it completely. Even after getting his life saved, Aram didn't change, still walking around with that same cocky attitude. Dolorance handed him a potion and explained that the only way to make him stronger was to take on a hidden quest. And this right here was exactly the opening Sankyol needed. If he can get into this hidden quest too, it'll help him boost his intuition, something he desperately needs. Dolorance then led Aram up the mountain to where this hidden quest would take place. But even here, it was clear, Aram was way too weak to complete it on his own. Dolorance made it clear she couldn't help him during this trial, because it's one of the legendary 7 heroes trials, specifically Vestier's trial. Hearing that, Sankyol couldn't help but grin. This was something huge, a chance that could change everything for him. The moment Sankyol stepped into the cave, arrows started whizzing past him, guiding him deeper inside. Following their lead, he eventually arrived at a special guardhouse where a strange Echo's portal stood before him. According to Sankyol, Vestier was a legendary wizard who had completely mastered the wizard class. What puzzled him, though, was how someone like her ended up in the Book of Destruction. As he approached, a mirror emerged from the portal and asked what dream he wished for. The moment he touched the mirror, the hidden quest officially began. Moving forward, Sankyol wondered what the 7 heroes wanted to leave behind for those attempting this trial. He figured they must have made it back when they still had faith in humanity. But then, strange creatures suddenly appeared, and the entire place reeked of blood. blood. Songkyul instantly took back what he said about trust. Judging by the stench and the ominous vibe, this was definitely more about sacrifice than faith. The creatures merged into one, latching onto Songkyul's mind and pulling him into a dream world. The first dream dropped him on a beach, surrounded by beautiful girls smiling and calling him over to play. Anyone else might have fallen for the trick, but Songkyul wasn't about to get fooled. He whipped out his hammer, ready for whatever was coming. Sure enough, the girls turned into demons, lunging at him. One mighty swing of his hammer smashed the illusion instantly. First test passed. The next dream was worse. Songkyul found himself chained up as a swarm of mantises rushed him all at once. Then, out of the shadows, the demon lord appeared, mocking Songkyul for failing to kill him. Even bound in chains, Songkyul, using sheer strength and skill, he broke free, turned the chains into weapons, immobilized the demon lord, and smashed him with his hammer. Another dream shattered, another test cleared. The thing is, these mind tricks didn't stand a chance from the start. Songkyul's unyielding skill made him completely resistant to mental attacks, meaning no dream demon could break him. That's when something incredible happened. He felt an overwhelming surge of magic energy. From behind, Vestiaire herself appeared, or at least a memory fragment of her. And just this fragment alone carried enough magical pressure to shake the air around him. Vestiaire explained that the trial couldn't truly proceed yet. Only those who can overcome 32 pleasures and endure 27 pains can claim the reward. But come on, we just saw how Songkyul demolished every dream demon thrown at him. This guy was more than ready. Vestiaire knew it too, which is why the real trial began, a direct showdown between her and Songkyul. She opened with a spell that filled the area with sticky spider webs to slow him down, followed immediately by a massive fireball aimed straight at him. But none of these tricks worked. Songkyul tanked the blast, ripped through the webs, and charged in for a strike. Vestiaire used teleportation to dodge and countered with another fireball, but this time, she got serious. Utilizing her secret technique, Echo, she multiplied the spell into over 10 blazing fireballs, all homing in on him. Even then, Songkyul's speed was unmatched. In a blink, he was behind her, slamming her hard into the ground. Demanding answers, Songkyul asked where the other 7 heroes were. Vestiaire replied calmly that they would reveal themselves when the time was right, just as the prophecy of destruction foretold. As Songkyul prepared to deliver the final blow, she looked at him with a knowing expression and said he was just like them. Through the dream demon, she sensed the same anger and disappointment in humanity burning within him, an even deeper resentment than what the 7 heroes themselves carried. Vestiaire's eyes burned bright red as she glared at Songkyul, asking him what he would do when the pathetic hopes that keep him going are crushed. That was it. Songkyul's patience snapped. With pure rage fueling him, he swung his hammer with devastating force, smashing it straight into her face and finishing her off for good. Now let me break down what's really going on behind all this. A long time ago, countless humans were summoned into this other world. They were abandoned by the gods, left to fend for themselves. But despite being thrown into chaos, these humans, barbaric yet noble, managed to confront the world's greatest catastrophes. Their victory came at a massive cost, countless sacrifices, and at the center of it all stood 7 legendary heroes. But their story didn't end with glory. According to ancient prophecy, these 7 forgotten heroes would one day reincarnate in the demon world, a place ravaged under the devil's army. And when they returned, they wouldn't bring peace or hope. They would bring blood, death, plague, and war. The Book of Destruction even claimed they had been corrupted and would rise again alongside chaos itself. But Songkyul isn't shaken. Standing tall and confident, he declares he won't end up corrupted like they did. Upon defeating Vestiaire's dream trial, he unlocks a new achievement fittingly titled Dream Wrecker. He gains 30 palace tokens, a solid plus 10 boost in magical power, intuition, and spell resistance, and finally, a brand new weapon, Magical Moonlight Staff. With these gains, his intuition is no longer in the negatives. Just as he's taking this in, another chilling notification appears. The 7 heroes are now aware of him. From this moment forward, he's under their watchful gaze. And that's not all. Vestiaire leaves behind a final parting gift, a powerful artifact known as the Book of the Echo Master. With this secret skill, Songkyul could eventually replicate any spell and cast it repeatedly. The problem is when he tries to open it, it's locked tight. To unlock it, he needs at least 20 points each in magical power, intuition, and spell resistance. And if that wasn't frustrating enough, he also needs 50 palace tokens. Now, let's shift over to Hyansik Jang's teacher, Krill Regal. Remember this guy? Jang is the one who tried to out Songkyul as a mole earlier. Well, Regal is losing his mind because Hyansik Jang hasn't responded at all, and with the status report due tomorrow, Regal knows that if he doesn't figure something out fast, he's a dead man walking. In a panic, Regal uses his magic tracking orb to replay Hyansik Jang's past moments. That's when he catches a glimpse of Songkyul's face, hearing him ask about his name again. The realization hits Regal. Something's off. Desperate, Regal rushes to Dolorance, begging her to help him, or at least lend him her eye of the observer. But Dolorance doesn't even pretend to care. She flat out refuses, calling him useless and brushing him off like trash. Regal tries pleading, but she instantly shuts him down, unleashing her freezing aura to make her point crystal clear. She doesn't even bother reporting him to their superiors, because by tomorrow, once Regal is exposed, he'll be dead anyway. Completely broken, Regal leaves the area, tears streaming down his face, fully aware his time is running out. And that's when Christian, a notorious slave hunter, spots him in that pitiful state and casually asks if he got rejected by his crush or something, completely unaware of the storm Regal is caught in. Christian told Regal he actually had a way to save him, handing him a key to the Summon Palace, palace. He explained that Regal could use it to sneak into the area where slaves were being kept and try to find hide-and-seek Jang. Desperate and with nothing left to lose, Regal took the key and rushed to the palace. Unfortunately, luck wasn't on his side. As he searched, two homunculi suddenly grabbed onto his legs, asking him for candy. Already on edge and burning with panic, Regal killed both of them without hesitation. Afterward, he grabbed a red robe, threw it on, and focused on the only thing that mattered, finding Jang before morning came. Meanwhile, Sangyeol was busy handling his own preparations. He used the soul vault to safely store the echo scroll, and when he opened the vault, oh man, it was loaded. Powerful weapons, piles of gold, food supplies. It was like looking into a lifetime of grinding and surviving. 25 years in the other world definitely wasn't wasted. From that stash, Sangyeol picked out the moonlight staff, deciding it would be his weapon of choice for the upcoming trial. But he still needs 9 more intuition points to unlock the wizard class, and he's running low on palace tokens. Tomorrow's ranking battle could be his chance to earn more, but showing off too much would definitely draw the attention of the higher-ups, a risk he can't afford just yet. Back at the palace, the homunculi delivered food to the remaining humans in preparation for tomorrow's ranking battle. The chosen ones, on the other hand, didn't have to worry about fighting for food. They were being pampered and treated far better than everyone else. As for Aram, well, Sangyeol wasn't exactly thrilled about it, but he knew he had to stick close to that creep a little longer if he wanted to see this through. Just then, Yoing Jongha approached Sangyeol, offering him a sandwich. As they ate, Sangyeol's mind was already locked on tomorrow's battle. The decisive fight would undoubtedly happen in the final stage, and from everything he knew, it would either be under Alamo rules or Pacman. Whatever the case, he needed to be ready. Finally, Regal showed up again, still frantically searching for Jang, but now wearing a red robe. When Sangyeol spotted him from a distance, he thought for a moment that Regal might actually be a necromancer. Not too far from there, where real necromancers were already hard at work, summoning the undead, fallen humans who had already met their end here, all in preparation for tomorrow's brutal ranking battle. Regal finally spotted the group of chosen ones, scanning every face desperately for Jang, but he wasn't there. That's when his eyes landed on Sangyeol. Something immediately felt off. Unlike the others, Sangyeol didn't have an eye of the observer. But Sangyeol wasn't about to let Regal ruin everything. Thinking quick, he slipped into the shadows, baiting Regal to follow. The moment Regal crept close, Sangyeol let him get near enough before turning the tables. With a sudden bone-crushing punch, he nearly killed Regal on the spot. Disappointed, Sangyeol muttered that he thought Regal might have been a necromancer, but clearly, this guy was just a weak wizard. Desperate to survive, Regal dropped to his knees, begging for mercy, explaining he wasn't an enemy. He was only there searching for hide-and-seek Jang. Sangyeol coldly told him the truth. Jang was already dead. Hearing that shattered Regal completely. Tears streamed down his face as the weight of failure hit him. Watching the broken man cry, Sangyeol finally made a decision. He tossed Regal a small pouch and told him if he wanted to live, he'd better do exactly as instructed. In return, Regal would have to help him later on. The next day, Regal followed through with his part of the deal. He approached Sangil Ma, a high-ranking official of the Iron Blood Knights, and handed over the pouch Sangyeol had given him. Inside was pure emeralds, enough to buy Regal's life for now. Sangil Ma, somewhat amused, revealed that hide-and-seek Jang was actually still alive, which only twisted the knife deeper for Regal. Keeping his word, Regal secretly sent out a message using a small squirrel as a courier. The intel was crucial. Tomorrow's ranking battle would follow Alamo rules, a brutal zombie tagger event. There were special rewards for the top 3 participants and an extra bounty on a rare monster called the Red Hat. Under Alamo rules, all summoned humans would have to band together to fend off waves of monsters or die trying. Finally, the big day arrived. The arena gates opened and hordes of zombies poured in, swarming every inch of the battlefield. Unlike the terrified recruits around him, Sangyeol stepped forward wielding his moonlight staff. He struck first, taking down a zombie in a flash. With that first kill, the tone was set. Playtime had just begun. Sangyeol knew exactly what he was after, the zombie with the red hat. Taking it down meant bonus rewards, and he wasn't leaving this battle without grabbing it. But the higher-ups handed Aram, a guy who can barely fight, a freaking spirit wolf staff. This thing isn't a toy. If you can't control it, it can turn the whole battlefield into chaos. The chosen ones were doing their best, holding the line and slicing through zombies. One of them, a young girl, was clearly out of her depth. She would have been zombie chow long ago if not for others jumping in to cover her. Then came Aram's grand disaster. He activated the staff, summoning 2 massive black wolves that tore zombies apart with ease. The problem? Aram couldn't control them. Instead of just targeting zombies, the wolves started mauling humans too. Completely losing it, Aram screamed for the wolves to attack anyone who dared get in his way. One wolf lunged straight at the struggling girl, but Sangyeol dashed in, yanked her out of harm's way, and took down the threat without breaking a sweat. Zombies were closing in fast. Sangyeol kept fighting while carefully counting every kill. He had to keep his numbers low. Going too high would push him into the top ranks, drawing attention from the higher-ups. So far, he had 28 kills. 2 more and he'd hit 30, just enough for a solid reward without raising red flags. That's when he spotted it, the red hat zombie. But Aram's chaos was making everything worse. The wolves were out of control, attacking everything that moved. Sangyeol had enough of this clown show. He ripped the head off a nearby zombie with his bare hand and hurled it like a missile. It slammed into Aram's face, knocking him out cold and instantly shutting down the spirit wolves. With that problem handled, Sangyeol set his sights on the red hat zombie, only to notice someone else had locked onto it too. A blonde girl, unbelievably fast and powerful for a newcomer, was sprinting in. Knowing the staff wasn't precise enough, enough, Song-yeol switched to his sword and hurled it with deadly accuracy, piercing the zombie's heart. But this blonde girl, she was smart. Instead of going for the body, she went straight for the head, landing a perfect strike. A notification popped up. Both Song-yeol and the blonde girl had jointly killed the red hat zombie, meaning the bonus would be split 50-50. The system offered two possible rewards, 3 palace tokens, or an energetic kite shield, with the choice going to whoever picked first. Before Song-yeol could make a move, the blonde girl instantly grabbed the palace tokens. That threw Song-yeol off. Most newbies wouldn't even care about tokens. They'd go for gear to survive longer. But this girl, she knew exactly what those tokens were worth. After claiming her reward, she vanished without a word, leaving Song-yeol wondering, was she like him? Another long-timer who knew the ins and outs of this brutal world? With that, the first ranking battle wrapped up. The Summon Palace Committee reviewed the results. The White Square, Song-yeol's group, had killed 852 monsters total. Out of the 4 squares, blue, scarlet, white, and crimson, the White Square came in dead last, 4th place. Since Song-yeol only racked up 35 kills, he stayed below the cut line and received just a compensation reward, earning an A rank with basic survival supplies. Now came the final choice of reward: Purifying Elixir, Explosion Scroll, or Wind Magician's Scroll. Before Song-yeol could decide, Jong-ha walked up, holding a Purifying Elixir. He explained his guide told him to pick that one for safety, but Song-yeol just smirked. Playing it safe wasn't his style. A defense item might keep you alive a little longer, but it won't win you anything big. Without hesitation, he picked the Explosion Scroll and, with that signature cocky confidence, told Jong-ha, "I don't like surviving the easy way." Jong-ha wasn't having any of Song-yeol's cocky talk. He straight up told him not to act tough when he scored lower.